All right, welcome back to Californiathon. Coming up now, we have Sonic Riders by Celestics. Feel free to introduce yourself and your couch.
All right, so hi there. So my name can be kind of hard to say sometimes, so you can just call me Salad Sticks. Sitting right next to me here is Shasta.
Hello. I'm a little off camera.
And yeah, so we're going to be playing Babylon's story for Sonic Riders. Just a little bit of background on this game before we start. So the hero story is going to be following Sonic, but we're not going to be playing Sonic because, let's be honest, who likes Sonic? So instead, we're going to be playing their sort of like nemesis, or their sort of like rivals, Jet and his gang. So yeah, you'll be seeing them as well, but we'll get more into it once we start the run. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. Countdown it is. All right, so in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so the first thing I'm going to say is that this stage is actually the hardest stage in the run.
Oh, man.
It is actually the hardest stage in the run. The reason why is because there is a lot of RNG with the types of cars that are going to be spawning. First thing I should probably mention is that you're going to be seeing me drift a lot. So a little bit about the mechanics in this game. That's fine. Don't even worry about that. So you can press circle. I'm using PS4 controller in order to boost. We're not going to really worry about that right now, though. We're going to instead use L and R in order to drift. And there's the RNG. So we got hit by the truck there. That's actually a random spawn. If that shows up, you have to take the hit, and there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, so we usually drift, use L and R during the first few, like 30 seconds of the stage, because the boost that you get off from drifting, if you've ever played Mario Kart, Double Dash, etc., it gives you a lot more speed than if you just simply press circle to boost. So you'll be seeing us do that before the second and third laps come along. Yeah, so one other thing that I should mention is that the sort of path these cars take are fixed, but again, the spawn types of the cars can vary, and the truck is the worst thing that we can get. Yeah, so just more along the boost side of things, there is a level counter on the top left side of my screen. At the beginning of every stage, it'll be level 1. And when I boost off of a level 1 board, which is the thing I'm riding on right now, I will get 200 speed. And at level 2, it will become 220 or 230 based on my character type. And then at level 3, it's 250. Now, that's at the bottom right of my screen. Obviously, higher is faster, and that's what we want. So usually the goal in every stage is to get precisely to level 3, which is 60 rings, as fast as possible. So besides the second and third laps, the first lap is usually going to be us taking a little bit of a detour to grab as many rings as possible. Okay then, so with that in mind, this is actually going to be the end of the first stage. One thing I should mention is also the trick system. So the trick system ranks from C to X. So it goes from C, B, A to double A to S to double S and then to X. Every single time you go off of a rank, nah, we don't really care about you, Knuckles. You will be given a rank for the type of tricks that you do, and that directly gives you an amount of air that you can use towards your boost. Now, of course, a higher rank is better. Ooh, use that, that's fine. Just worry about getting level 3 afterwards. And so, actually even lost my train of thought. Oh my goodness, that's fine. So, okay, here we go. So you might be hearing my controller like a ton. During these parts are a little bit of auto scrollers, but you can go faster by mashing left and right on the control stick. And that's pretty much it for now. And now I'm playing as Wave, which is a flying type. So flying types in this game are hella broken. You'll be seeing that later on in the run. But the reason why is because for some reason the developers just thought that the shortcuts for all the flying types were just that strong by pretty much skipping at least like a quarter or the third of the stage that you're playing in. So whenever you're going to be seeing me play as Wave, things are going to break. Oh, and that just happened. Cool. So one thing I should say also is that this game is actually not really a main series game. It is a sort of racing spin-off that was developed by Sega a long time ago. A lot of people gave kind of sort of bad reviews for this game, saying that the controls weren't well made, but I have to admit that the controls for this game are actually quite intuitive. Definitely should try it out if they ever release it on the PC, which I am playing on, by the way. They usually release it in a disc. If they're able to release it on some other platform in the future, it'd be great to pick up. We're back to level 2. So when I'm playing as a flying type, there are these rings that I have to pass through. They give me air, and the more rings I pass through in the same sort of chain, it gives me back more air. Now, we don't need too much air. We would rather land on the ground and boost as fast as possible so that we get the maximum speed just from being on the ground. Being in the air is really slow, so as soon as I just get enough air, I can just press X to land on the ground and immediately just boost forward. There we go. That is the end of this 3rd stage.
Hey, Mr. Celestics, I got a question for you. I'm not sure if you addressed it, but Cheth noticed that the mouse is on stream. Could you explain why that's necessary? Because you told me that was necessary.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're going to be seeing the... I don't know if this mic is the one or is it that one? Okay, so well... Okay then. So the mouse has to be on screen because there's a little quirk with the PS4 controller. That is, if I accidentally hit one of the buttons on the PS4 controller, I will actually click on the mouse. And that's really bad because if I'm off focus, then it will cause me to drop every single input until I put my mouse back on screen. So you're going to be seeing that mouse cursor just like lonely there. No movement at all. Yeah, it's basically just chilling.
Just gonna stay on this run for a bit. Don't worry.
Alright, so this is Ice Factory, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit of an out-of-bounds clip that is going to be pretty interesting. Take a look at the right. That is a golden 100 ring cap, and that's going to be important in a little bit because if an enemy takes that, then you can pretty much kiss any chance of getting a PB or world record goodbye. That's the only source of randomness in this stage. But what I'll be showing you right now is going to be a little bit more confusing than that. Let's see if I can get the setup correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go backwards. I'm going to boost off sides. And what it's going to let me do is actually trick the game to thinking that I actually skipped a third of the entire stage. And the reason why this works is that, much like many racing games, when you go out of bounds, it has to place you somewhere back inside. And the way that this works is that it takes the place where you went off bounds. Ooh, cool, we got lucky. And it basically triangulates and says, yo, what was the last position that you were in when you went out of bounds? And luckily, that particular area which I boosted into actually hit the bounding box of that area that I sort of like wrong warped into. So when the game put me back inside, I ended up pretty much tricking the game into thinking that I was already in there. So I get to do this once again. It is possible to do this on lap 1. But it is very difficult. Shout outs to DSS because he was pretty much like the only person you can get that to work. It is a frame perfect trick for lap 1. Alright, perfect. Good. Alright, we're coming up at the end of this last stage right here. Now after Ice Factory, not so much dependent on RNG more than just being able to position yourself correctly. I'd say that the hardest stage is the one that's coming after, probably at the last stage of an entire run, or the second to last stage. But for now, we're going to be worrying about Jet again, who we're going to be playing as a speed character, and this is White Cave, which has a gravity field exploit, which I'll explain as soon as we see it. So remember when I said that flying types are super strong in this game? Well, Jet can't really fly, even though he's a hawk. He can only grind on rails. But we can trick the game into thinking that we somehow have like a large enough mass because this vine will just suddenly let us sort of like gravitate straight directly onto it, which conveniently houses a 100 ring pack, which we can grab to immediately hit level 3.
Hey, Mr. Celestics,
Yo,
can you let us know when you have a chance to read for us to read donations?
Actually, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this stage. Go ahead and go for it.
Alright, so we have $30 for and someone that's been all over the section
Hey.
Just so people are aware, if you donate $30 or more, and this does not have to be the single donation, by the way, it can be over the course of the entire marathon, you will be eligible to enter a raffle for a Nintendo Switch and a copy of Breath of the Wild. So be sure to get on that if you're interested. And all proceeds will be benefiting me directly.
Any more donations? Are we good?
That is all for donations that we have now.
Sounds good. All right. So let's try doing this gravity thing again. All right, perfect. So there are two different vines that we can take here. I'm taking the right one because of the 100 ring pack, and it's also technically faster. If you're a flying type, it also brings you into this super secret caterpillar thing, which guides you to the shortcut. One thing you might notice is that there are these cobwebs placed all around the place. There's also a track right underneath the first cobweb that I just went on. The trick system has something a little bit interesting that makes it different from most other games, which is whenever you do a front flip, you'll go farther, but whenever you start your trick chain with a back flip, it makes you go higher. So if you want to hit most of the shortcuts in this game, you want to make sure that you know exactly whether or not you need to go further in the track in order to hit that second level, or that if you need to go higher in order to pretty much hit a secret passageway.
Hey, we had a few audio issues, and we have to repeat the last two donations. May we do that now?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so we have $30 from Lord of Conquest, who says, as someone who has been all over the spectrum to being alive today with where I am, I'll be proud to donate to this cause. Also, Zora is bae. We have $50 from Chrono, who says $5 times 10 Ms. Zips equals $50. Hey. And just so people know, if you donate $30 or more over the course of the marathon, and this can be in multiple donations, by the way, you will be eligible to win a Nintendo Switch console and Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch, obviously. So be sure to get on that if you're interested. All proceeds will be benefiting the Direct Relief. Thank you.
So, quick question. You mentioned that Jet here is a flying type. What other types of vehicles and characters are there in the game beyond this character and flying type?
I wish Jet was a flying type. He's actually a speed type. I have no idea why he's a hawk and he can't fly at all.
That's right.
It's so weird. So your question was, what other types of boards can we play in this game, right?
Yes, and characters as well.
Yeah, so the three main characters that we're playing as right now are Jet, Wave, and Storm. They're the three main players of the story that we're running. Speed, flying, and power directly. As for other characters, though, you can actually play as the esteemed Ai from the Super Monkey Ball series. Ooh, and also Knights.
Knights? Oh, that makes sense for the Sega as well.
I believe there's also... I don't even know how to pronounce her name. What was it again? It's like Nana or something? There's like another character from some other obscure game that I have no idea about that you can also unlock. But we don't unlock her in this run. If you wanted to do all missions, then you could totally use her. But for the most part, Ai and Knights are considered to be the two power users if you actually complete the game 100%. You can also play on skates as for board usage, but they're bad. Don't ever play on skates.
I'd play on skates, but board's just way more swag looking.
Exactly. Look at them.
Really cool.
Okay, so here we go with... I'm going to try this once, because this trick is actually tied to the game's FPS, and if this doesn't work, then that just means that I just have to go with the backup strat. We'll see if it works right now. So if you watch the Heroes run from SGDQ last year, you might have noticed that I tried to do something called pause buffering. Okay, yeah, so it's not gonna work. Okay, we'll just do the regular strat. So you might notice that that what I was trying to do was pretty much spam the hell out of my start buttons, which I actually conveniently rebound to square. And the reason why is because every single time you try to press start, whenever you release it, the most recently held input will be held for another 5 to 10 frames. But if you don't press start again in the immediate sort of like time frame, then you lose that input. So what I can do is I can actually trick the game into thinking that I can drift while I'm airborne, which you're not supposed to be allowed to do. And that way I can actually skip an entire half of this stage, which saves about 20 seconds every single time I do it. But again, if you don't get it the first time, you probably lost or dropped inputs, and the game is not really friendly with that sometimes. I can try it again, but at this point, we can see if it works. Okay, that didn't work. All right, we'll just do the regular way. Woo. Normally, you're supposed to take these little flying rings right here and just do a front flip trick in order to get onto this turbulence in the air. Okay, and normally in the story modes, this would be the last stage, but because we are playing the second of the two, there is actually one more stage, which sadly we do have to play as Sonic, because he is the main character of this game. Oh man.
Dang.
Okay, yeah, we're on the final lap. There's also an aisle strat that you can do off of the first part of this stage, right before you jump off of that huge ramp at the start. That one in particular, it is actually near frame perfect. I don't believe it is frame perfect, but it is something that you generally do not do with this board because, one, you do not have enough speed, and two, you're going to be level 1 at the beginning. You will not have a second time to try it. Once you fail it first time, it's just like impossible to do it again. Okay, but that's pretty much going to be it for this stage. Next stage is going to be the Babylon Guardian, and that is the final stage of this run. The only way that I can fail Babylon Guardian is if I do not hit the genie's base. It's going to sound really weird, but he's basically a boss, and the only way we complete a lap is if we whack into sort of like his genie lamp. Charleston, when you look at it, can you tell me what that looks like? Because I'm pretty sure that's not a lamp.
That is not a lamp. Can't confirm.
If anybody has any idea what that is,
What is that?
I have no idea. Well, when we hit it and get closer, we can check it out. What is that thing?
Maybe some sort of jar? That's definitely not a lamp, though.
I've always been wondering too. They never really say what that is, so if anybody could actually figure out what that is at all, that'd be great. All right, so that'll be the first lap. So we got to do this 2 more times. So one thing that game does not tell you about in this stage is that you, casually speaking, when you're playing this for your first time, you will very likely just never be able to beat the stage because you will always keep thinking that boosting is the way to go, when drifting is actually the more reliable way to do things. Because one, it uses up half the air, and it also makes you go faster. And there are also no rings, which means that you cannot even get to level 2 or level 3. So the speed boost is just near impossible.
I think you figured out what it is. It's a squash.
It's a squash.
It looks like it. Just see it. You can see it. Zoom in really quick. And squash. There we go. See? Maybe a pear.
Well, it's squashed now. Oh, by the way, so as much as I really do like Tails as a character, I hate Tails in this stage because whenever I try to play this in a speedrun, he's always the person who tries to mess with it. The CPUs are the only sort of like entities in this game whose AI can brutally screw you over, because when they hit the genie doesn't take any damage, and he also gets moved. Oh, by the way, this time. Sorry. Yeah, so the CPU is there. Thanks. And so yeah, just to finish up that thought, the CPUs here, they're the only way that can really screw up this run, just because, again, when they hit the genie doesn't take damage. He gets knocked back like 50 meters, and you're pretty much going to be missing a cycle off of it, which does cost about like 45 seconds. Well, 30 to 45 seconds. But yeah, there you go. This is Babylon's story.
Look at that rubber banding on Tails.
Look,
Just see that?
exactly, just look at that. Man, tell
Jeez.
us why.
It's not linear at all.
All right, awesome run, Celestics. Sonic Riders is a pretty high-octane game. Coming up next, we have Bubble Ghost. So stay tuned for that. We're going to go into a quick setup intermission, and then we'll be doing that when we come back.